Yesterday, the South African National Roads Agency, SANRAL, told Parliament it was running into money problems again because of the lockdown, but also because of the incredible uncertainty around e-tolls. Around 10 months ago, the Transport Minister, Fikile Mbalula, claimed that he would sort out the e-tolls issue with the Finance Minister, Wayne, and the Gauteng Premier, David Makura. But so far, no solution is forthcoming. Wayne, the minister, has said in the past that he does not see why government should bail out e-tolls and people should pay to use the roads. Of course, the minister, Fikile Mbalula, and the Premier, David Makura, both oppose e-tolls. Wayne Duvenage is the CEO of OUTA, the organisation undoing tax abuse. It started out as opposition to urban tolling. He joins us now. Wayne, good afternoon to you. I presume you're not at all surprised to see SANRAL in such a difficult financial problem.
Yeah, Stephen, they shouldn't be. I mean, they get the funds from Treasury. They're allocated. You know, when this whole e-toll matter started, it was 5 billion a year that they were getting to do all the roads, by the way. They're now getting 15 billion rand a year in allocations from Treasury. The fuel levy has been increased far more than what was required just to cover the upgrade in Gauteng. So, yeah, it's there. It's just a matter of allocation. And I think what SANRAL is saying is until the government makes that decision, they struggle to go to the bond market because they have to have certainty around the e-toll matter. Once the e-toll plug is pulled and the solution to funding those bonds is found, which we know should come from Treasury, then everything goes back to normal again for them in their ability to go to the market and raise funds for new toll routes.
Okay, I mean, the supposed solution involving the Finance Minister, the Gauteng Premier, the Transport Minister, is anything actually on the table? Is anything into the public domain here?
Well, as you said a year ago, in fact, it was just before the elections in 2019, the President had tasked Fikile Mbalula to resolve this matter. A lot of discussions happened. We made presentations and others did as well. That was in August last year. The solution was coming, and in fact, the week before lockdown, the ANC announced, I don't know why it was them, but they announced that the decision would be made that week. And then lockdown came, and for some reason, I don't know why lockdown pushed the decision out, but it has. So here we are, another 6 months later, and really the decision, as far as we're concerned, from a public point of view, has already been made. If you're down to 20% compliance and you're struggling to just pay the administration of the system, it makes sense to pull the plug because you're not going to lose anything by doing so.
I mean, if it's down to 20%, you're just not going to get it any higher unless you actually prosecute people for not paying e-tolls, and I don't know if the jails actually have enough space for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you remember we were on a test case scenario for the prosecutions, and in March last year they put a halt to that. We're a long way down the road with the test case, and they pulled the plug on that matter, which they can't really do. So that situation sits in limbo. And on top of that, the Credit Bureau Association announced and told SANRAL and the public that nobody can be blacklisted or get a bad credit rating as a result of e-toll defaulting. And that put another nail in the coffin. So that really is just hanging by a thread at the moment, and it's a simple decision. They just need to make it, and then SANRAL can move on and get funding, which they can toll. Normal tolling is 100% hit rate. You know, the boom doesn't lift unless you pay. But this drive now, pay later e-toll scheme, that's down to 20% hit rate, and it's failed.
Do you have sympathy for Wayne, the Finance Minister? He's in an impossible position. We've got less money. Government has less money to fulfill more need than probably ever before. And at this, you know, you can say that government must sort out the e-tolls thing, but he just doesn't have the money to do it.
Well, you know, the bonds were given to them from PIC, so there's nothing wrong with sitting down with the bondholders and renegotiating the payment terms of this. Another thing is we said at the time it was 10 cents on the fuel levy. They've raised the fuel levy by R2.50, so the money's there. But if you have to raise another 10 or 20 cents on the fuel levy for this to pay back those bonds, then that's what they have to do. It's not a difficult decision, and this is minor in the greater schemes of trying to bail out SAAs and Eskom, which they find the money for those, but they somehow cannot find the money for this the road network, the free network of the economic hub of this country, which gets people to and from work and goods to and from markets. It's critical that we have these roads, and it wasn't a difficult decision. Just for some reason, Stephen, they are struggling to make an easy decision, and we don't know why.
Do you expect any progress on this at all over the? I mean, could we be back in another year's time, back where we are now? I mean, this has gone on Well, for a very long time, Wayne, it would seem that it could go on for a long time to come.
Look, I don't think so. That we're going to make the decision. They have got the ETOL scheme out for tender again. That comes to an end in the end of December. So they've got to make a decision before then. It's a bit late to go out to tender on a scheme of this complexity. But the scheme that's gone out to tender is more so for the transaction clearinghouse because they've found other uses for the ETOL system, the transaction clearinghouse for integrated public transport matters, long-distance tolling. So it's got a use other than for ETOL, and we believe that the decision will be made soon to pull the plug on ETOL. They cannot get the 16 or so billion rand that is owed to SANRAL out the Gauteng motorist system. It's just far too much in this time. They'll never get that debt. They've had to write it off anyway, and they know that it's not working. They have admitted that themselves. So I think the decision is imminent.
Wayne, is your organisation, you also monitor corruption and cases of alleged corruption. It does seem that there's been a little bit of a change. The head of the NPA, Shamila Batohi, told Parliament yesterday that the era of impunity is over, that they're making some progress on some cases. She did say, though, that the NPA needs more resources. Should we be prioritising getting more resources to the NPA to prosecute these cases?
Absolutely. If there's one thing that puts confidence into society, into markets, is when corruption is addressed, and meaningfully so in a country like ours. And we believe that any reducing of funding to the NPA is a bad thing. She's made the right call there. And we need society to also get involved. OUTA provides a lot of investigative skills and system skills as well. And I think the more we can support the NPA and the IB, the more we're going to see these arrests coming. Last week was great for this country, stuff to celebrate, and we think there's more on its way.
Well, more on its way. Wayne, any names you'd care to mention? You know which name everyone's been talking about this week.
Yeah, I mean, Ace is obviously should be in the spotlight, but there's people like, Mosidin Zizwane, who was really sticking the in a number of matters, by the way. We've laid charges. There's Machela Koko, there's Brian Molefe, Anush Singh, so many people. And then Dudu Mnyeni, she's a delinquent director now. Those matters can be put into the NPA. In fact, they have. So there's a range of people and other ministers as well. Faith Matambi, Batubili Dlamini have been implicated. We've laid charges against them in 2017. So we think there's a lot of people that should be not sleeping too well.
Wayne Duvenage, thank you very much indeed. The view from him, the CEO of the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse on ETOLs. I don't know if you pay your ETOLs, but only 20% of people are. It's become a very long-running problem in our society.